Hi, welcome to the virtual orientation for the 2019 Autumn Ridge Outfitter by Starcraft 27 RKS. We're going to begin the orientation on the outside of your RV, and we're going to begin near the front. The first thing that we'll look at is your front pass-through storage compartment, which it looks like you're familiar with, as I think this is some of your stuff. You'll see that we have the lighting here, as well as the manual crank for your stabilization jacks. If we drop just below the front compartment access, you'll see the connection point for your solar ready hookup. And directly underneath that, we have one of 4 stabilization jacks. These stabilization jacks are located at the 4 corners of the trailer and should be used to snug the trailer up to the ground, never to level the RV. Once the RV is mostly level, you bring these down so they make contact with the ground and prevent excess movement of the trailer. You may require some blocking in order for the jacks to make contact with the ground. My recommendation would be 6x6 blocks. As we move our way around to the front of the RV, we'll make note of a couple more things. We have your battery storage area, as well as your propane system. Now normally this would be a dual crossover regulator, but I believe that they have spoken with you and made you aware that at the moment we did not have one, so we've placed a dual stage but single bottle regulator on here so that you can use it for now. So what this means is normally you would have the crossover regulator and you would have 2 hoses coming out of the regulator, 1 to each bottle, and you would not have to do anything in order to start using gas from the other bottle. However, we don't have one of those, or they're not available at this point in time, so we'll have to use one of these temporarily. So if you run out on the one bottle, you will have to manually cross over, close the bottle, undo the hose, and reattach to this one, and then open this bottle. Also on the front of the RV, we have your safety breakaway cable. This cable is attached via the tow vehicle with this loop end. The zip tie can be slid up or down the loop to make it smaller or larger. In the event that the tow vehicle is separated from your RV and it comes loose from the coupler, this pin will be pulled free of the housing and it will engage your trailer brakes. If you do notice that your trailer brakes are engaged, or it's pulling like your brakes are engaged, it would take a second to check this out and make sure this pin is fully seated inside the housing. As we come along the front, we'll make note of a couple other things here. We have a nice electric jack here with access to a manual crank on the top, as well as a nice little leveling system. And then we also have a light to help load at night. You'll also note that there is an inline fuse for this tongue jack, so if it isn't operational, before you go the manual route, take a look and see that the fuse is not just the entirety of your problem. Continue around to the outdoor side of the RV, making note of your city water connection. This is the point that you'll connect your garden hose, either from your house or the campground, in order to pressurize and fill the lines. And then once the garden hose is connected and the water is turned on that supplies that hose, it will then pressurize the lines inside the RV, much like the lines in your house, and you can use the water pretty much the same way. Directly above that, we have your outdoor shower. And then just down and to the right here, we have the output for your black and gray water, as well as the valve handles there and there for both of them. The sewer cap here needs to be removed before you hook the hose up to the campground's wastewater system. When you continue along the outside of the RV, the next thing that we'll come to is the main input for the cable or satellite for the entire trailer. So if you have cable or satellite, this is where you'll connect it in order to be able to watch TV inside. Continue along the outside. Coming to your 30 amp power supply here. This is what you connect to the campground power, or your connection point to connect to the power at home. However, most people do not have a 30 amp plug at home, and sometimes you will find that you do not have campgrounds won't have a site available with 30 amps. If that's the case, we've provided you with a conversion block to convert the plug end on the other end of this cord from the 30 amp to a 15 amp, so you can then plug it into a regular 15 amp receptacle. That being said, you will not have full functionality. Mainly the AC will not be functional. Also on the back of the RV, we have the venting for your refrigerator. It's important that this remains obstruction free at all times, as maximum airflow is needed through the venting for the refrigerator to operate properly. So we continue around back to the door side of the RV. We'll come to the outside access for your hot water tank. Of note in the hot water tank is the pressure relief valve and your drain plug. If you're ever removing this drain plug, always make sure this pressure relief valve is open and remains open. Otherwise, when you get to the last couple threads, this will let go and shoot out at you like a rocket. As we continue to make our way around the outside, next we'll come to your potable water fill point, or your fresh water fill point. This is what you would fill if you're going to be camping where there isn't a fresh water supply. You would fill this tank before you leave, and then use the onboard water pump to draw water from the freshwater tank. And right below that, we have the low point drain, which, once open, would drain your freshwater tank. Under the awning here, we'll make notice of the 2 speakers. Those speakers can be used with the stereo inside the RV. And we have your outdoor light. We open the door, we'll take a look inside and see what kind of features that we have. First thing inside the door, we turn around and take a look. Just point out the location of your fire extinguisher. It's an important piece of safety equipment. I like its placement by the door, as it gives you quick access if you're outside cooking or inside using the kitchen. Right inside the door to the left is where you'll find the controls for the slide out, as well as the awning, and your indication panel that has switching for your water pump, your water heater on gas, and also your values, or your tank levels for your fresh, black, and both gray water tanks. It will also indicate your battery level. Before we head into the main area of the RV, let's come this way and we'll take a look at the bedroom. So, your lights. Notice we have your bed, we have the underbed storage. Unfortunately, we have your new mattress on the bed, so I'm not going to lift it up. Plenty of storage in here. The most important thing to make note of is the emergency exit, to make sure you know how to use it. Of course, we hope that nobody ever does, but if you do, I'd rather know how than when you panic and try to figure it out. It is pretty simple, but like I said, in a panic, things can get a lot more difficult. So just push down lightly on this black tab, pull the red handle over and it'll pop out. Bring it fully perpendicular to the window and you can see that it already starts to pop open. Put the handle fully outside of the RV. Once the handle's fully outside of the RV, then you can remove the screen and then escape to safety. We'll come out of the bedroom and enter the bathroom. It's a nice little bathroom. You have a corner shower. It's actually a brand new shower base, as the old one had a crack in it, so that was replaced. Looks nice. And then the other thing that we'll note is the lock for the doors, that when you are traveling or you're not using it, it's a good idea to lock the doors so the doors don't bang around. They can break if that is the case. Also in the bathroom here, just like to point out the GFCI for the unit. If you find that you don't have power on some of your receptacles, mainly the receptacles near water, so counter plugs or any of the receptacles outside. Before you panic, I would always come here and just press the reset button, and that could solve the problem for you. We'll step out into the main area of the RV. Before we head in there, we'll just turn around and take a look at your thermostat. This is a capacitive touch button. What that means is we do not have to press it hard. It's not mechanically depressed. Just a light little touch. We have your auto, so you have your fan settings, and we have your settings for AC and the furnace, and use these to control the value that you see on the screen. If you have the fan set to auto, that will always function properly. If you change it to a high or low fan, then you will get the fan from the AC right here also blowing air. So if you find that this is blowing air, then simply come back to here. You'll see the fan settings, and it should be set to auto. You can't really see that well on this screen, but it should be set to auto, not high or low fan. So we come into the rest of the RV here. You'll see we have seat covers. This is merely to protect the corners and the edges of the seat while in transit. You can take those off when you're no longer moving. So as we turn around, you'll see that we have your TV here, the bracket installed. Now this TV, it does adjust in every direction, so you can tilt it this way, you can tilt it that way, you can pull it out. I think you can kind of do everything with it, so it is very adjustable. Directly below your TV is where we'll find your stereo for the RV. We have a power button here, and in order to access the outside speakers, we hit the select button, and we have to get your balance, use the balance or fade to more one way or the other, so up or down, and that will move you to the left and right speakers, as you can see there, and that changes you inside and outside. So you can either have all zones on, or you can use the balance and fade to put one or the other. You'll also see this is a DVD player. So in order to access the DVD, press that button, and then you have your DVD there. We have the base for your TV in here, as well as the box with the remaining parts to the mount. So we have your inside portion of your AC. There isn't much that you can do here other than we have these baffles here. What those baffling allows is, with them open, the majority of the air will fall right here. However, if you close them, it will force the air into the venting that is located throughout the RV. And there's also some in the bedroom and bathroom. The next thing that I want to talk to you about would be your carbon monoxide detector here, a propane detector or alarm, depending on how you want to look at it. We have a button on the front here. That button you can use to test the system to make sure it's still functioning and operational. So when you press the button, it'll issue a series of loud beeps. Those beeps, the light will turn red, things will flash, it'll make lots of noise, and then when it's all good and if it's operational and everything's safe, it will go back to the way it is now with a solid green light and not be making any noise at all. If we slide over to the left here, right next to the carbon monoxide alarm, you will see your load center. So this is where you're going to find your breakers, much like you'd see in your house, and fuses, much like you'd see in your car. These fuses are a little different than your car in that there is a red LED light that will light up next to a circuit, or the fuse, if it is not functioning properly. Just a brief mention of your carbon monoxide propane alarm. Couple things. One, it's good to test this regularly. The recommendation would be, just for ease of remembering, every 6 months or daylight savings time, when you change your clock forward or back, we like to recommend that you do your battery and your smoke detector, but then also as I showed you, press the button on the front of the carbon monoxide propane alarm and just make sure it's functioning at the same time. And the second thing that I had mentioned is that if you're doing any painting in or near this sensor, it will or can set that off. So we make our way into the kitchen here. We mentioned the conversion block from the 30 amp receptacle to the 15. It's right here in the sink, as well as a sample for a septic tank deodorizer. Everything's straightforward here. In order to light the stove, put it in the light position, then turn the sparking knob. That works for the 3 top burners. The oven itself does not have an automatic light. You'd have to light the pilot back there. That pilot, however, lights a little differently in that when it's put in the light position, such as it is now, you have to actually press and hold it in for the gas to be expelled as you reach in and light the pilot. We have the refrigerator here next. Right now, because it hasn't been used, we have these here to keep the doors open so it doesn't get moldy and really stinky. But then above we have your on-off switch, and then we have another switch to change it between auto and gas. Auto will automatically switch electricity first. If there isn't any electricity, then it will go to propane, and then obviously the gas setting will automatically choose propane and only propane. If you see this light come on, that would indicate that there is an issue with the gas. One of the more common issues would be that you don't have the bottles turned on, or there's just not enough gas pressure in the system. One thing that I like to do that helps to prevent that is to, before you try to light any of the major appliances, come in here and light your burners first, get them lit. That kind of bleeds some of the air out of the system and helps to build up pressure in the lines. So earlier we talked about your hot water tank. I'm going to show you the inside portion of your hot water tank now. I've pre-removed these panels. So I removed the screw previously so the panel can be removed, and you can see that we have your hot water tank. So we've got these valves here. This will switch you between a winterizing mode and a summer mode. Right now it's in winter mode, and I'm going to switch that to summer mode for you now. So this will allow water to flow into the tank. So there, we have water flowing into your tank here. This is blocked off, so that's perfect. We're operational here for summer use, so water will flow through the tank. The only reason why you bypass the hot water tank is when you're winterizing, you do not need to fill your hot water tank full of antifreeze, as you have a drain plug and a drain to drain all the water out. So we'll talk about your water heater in a little bit, but first we need your water pump. So the water pump is located in here. The easiest access is through the drawer. And the way you remove these drawers, so if you come over to the side on the drawer here, you can see that we have this black tab. If I can get a good angle of it. So we have that little black tab right there. There's one on both sides in the same spot. One on this side, you're going to push it down, and then the other side you're going to pull it up, and you do it at the same time, and then pull the drawer forward and it will slide right out. And once it slides right out, you can actually pull the drawer fully out. I'm not going to. I'm just going to get a little sneak peek in there so you can see your water pump. Then also what we can see is the valve there. There's the fill tube for your water pump, this clear tube right here. That's what you'd use to draw the antifreeze out of the antifreeze jug. But right now this is set up for summer use. It is set up to draw, so you can see that is the way that's turned. The handle is pointing away from the fill tube. So that is actually set up for use with your freshwater tank. If you wanted to draw from the fill tube, you'd turn the handle towards the fill tube or in line with it. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit. This is a bit of a different scenario here in that you guys are receiving your RV and it's still winter time here. So we still have antifreeze in the system. So if we open any of these lines right now, you're gonna have some antifreeze in there. Now it is non-toxic, so it won't hurt you, but it will taste a little funny. So it's a good idea that when you first hook everything up, you're gonna close out your low point drains, which I will do ahead of time. Then you hook your hose up to the city water connection, like I showed you earlier. You turn the water on, you let the water flow in, you leave the drain plug. Now I've already got your hot water tank set up the way it needs to be. So you just leave the drain plug out of your hot water tank, let the water flow through the lines until it starts coming out of your tank, and wait for it to run clear. So let all of the antifreeze run out. You can still smell it if it's in there. Once it all runs out, then you put your drain plug in, make sure it's in all the way. And again, while you're doing this, make sure your pressure relief valve is open. Do up your drain plug, make sure you get that nice and tight. You'll need a socket for that. So I would let it run. You put the plug in the hot water tank, let it run until the water starts coming out of the pressure relief valve. At that point, you can close the pressure relief valve, and then you can come inside here and start running all your taps. Same thing as the tank, just run them until they're clear and you don't smell the antifreeze anymore, hot and cold side. The outdoor shower, the bathroom and all that, you'll have to run those taps to clear out the antifreeze. But other than that, that's really it. Now that you've got everything flushed out and the hot water tank is full, you can also go over to your little connection center here, and you can your indication panel, and you can click the button and light the gas. So that's the only thing. It's a little different because you guys are taking this when it is still winterized. Just make sure that you're aware of that. But wanted to give you a quick little synopsis on how to do that, how to de-winterize. If you still have any questions when you get where you are, don't hesitate to give us a call. Somebody here will be more than happy to help you go through the de-winterizing or anything else that you need for that matter. The one other thing that I would like to mention is just the signal booster in here for the antenna for the TV. If the red light is on in here beside where this cable connects and you're trying to connect it to cable, just click that button, or cable or satellite for that matter. Click that button until the red light shuts off. That's beside where the cable comes in here, and it will then switch off the signal booster. The signal booster messes up your cable or your satellite, that's all. Okay, congratulations on your new RV. I hope you enjoyed the video and it was informative for you. If there's anything that I missed, I apologize. But like I said, if you have any questions at all, give us a call and we'd be happy to help you answer them. So congratulations and enjoy your maiden voyage.